Yep.
Sweet. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. Oh, this is awesome. This is my first time doing two people.
We don't have a nice fancy microphone like you, though.
No.
I know. That's okay. I can hear you well.
Perfect.
You're not a podcaster yet.
No.
Love the shirts and the swag.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, who wants to start with telling me what More Good Days is about?
Do you want me to start?
Yeah, you can go for it.
So More Good Days is a clothing brand that Hayden and I started, and it is just to help promote the mental wellness of people and just really fight to end the stigma around mental illness and wear nice comfy clothes while doing it.
What better time than now, right?
Yeah, I know, right? We have so many shirts and hoodies and everything. We're sold out right now for some things, but we will be restocking soon. And a portion of the proceeds go to the Canadian Suicide Prevention services. Yes.
All right. What made you guys pick the Canadian Suicide Services? I know most people are always like CMHA or Canadian Mental Health Association. So that's a really great opportunity to see another initiative get that funding from you guys.
I think that was more me that took that over. I've struggled with depression quite a bit, and I've just noticed over the recent years that, especially in sports, there's been a lot of suicides happening because people aren't talking about it. And I want to start talking about it. I want to start talking about depression, and I want to make that kind of feeling more normalized. It's definitely, again, it's another thing that has stigma. Everybody's scared of the word suicide, and it probably doesn't get as much support as it needs because of that.
Totally.
What do you think people are afraid of, Hayden?
I guess just feeling helpless. I'm definitely afraid of that.
Oh, yeah. I think we've all gone through that, those feelings. And Did you play sports growing up?
I did, actually. Yeah, I'm a skateboarder, as well as I played rugby growing up, and I played a little bit of everything.
Yeah. What was some of the things you were afraid of telling people when you were depressed, or you couldn't even use those words? I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me in the past couple of years, it's been easier to tell somebody like, hey, I'm depressed, because I can identify it myself. I think the hardest part is really knowing, hey, I need help and I need to ask for help.
Right. How did you know you needed the help?
It was a bit of self-reflection, but mostly people around me kind of taking me aside and saying, I think you need to get help other than just with friends and family.
Now, is there various forms of, I guess, depression? Like, some people are recluse and just want to stay inside and not leave their bedroom.
Yeah, big time. I mean, I think depression has a huge list of symptoms. So there's high functioning people that are super depressed that you can't even tell, as well as there's people that can't even go to work because they're feeling depressed. So it's definitely, there's huge kind of diversity of symptoms and spectrum.
And I think too, with lots of mental illness, at least in my perspective, people can be very good at hiding it. And sometimes it's the people that you don't think it will be. We can put on a happy face for a party or, dinner, something like that. But it really is something that people can hide sometimes. So just because someone looks like they're doing well doesn't mean that they necessarily are. So it can be hard to spot too.
When people are constantly smiling or are happy, like you said, Kaitlin, those are the ones also oftentimes struggling.
Yeah,
big
definitely.
Time. And a common Canadian habit, we always ask friends when you see them, how are you? And everybody has that automatic response, I'm good. Everybody says I'm good, even if they're not good. And I don't know if that's necessarily healthy.
No.
Oh, you're so right on that. You nailed it. Because if you ask me, how's it going? Oh, good.
Yeah, it's like, it's just a natural response. Even like Hayden said, even if you aren't good, you're just going to say, I'm good.
Yeah.
How can we open that conversation up further? What are some things we could do, Hayden, Kaitlin?
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I found the easiest way for me to open up and for other people to open up to me was just being completely honest. Mm-hmm. I've had more friends and colleagues open up to me about what they're dealing with mentally because I don't hide it from people. I'll tell my friends, I'll tell my coworkers, hey, I'm having a bad day with depression or anxiety or whatever. And that lets people know that I'm a safe person to come talk to about that.
Yeah. And like, I think too, just even if you're not the one dealing with it, just letting people know that you're there to talk and you'll listen and you love them is really comforting as someone going through it. And while talking to like friends or family, that kind of thing, about like if I'm really anxious and I'm talking to, I mean, Hayden is a little different because he knows what it's like to go through those things. So we are really good at helping each other with that. But if I'm talking to someone who hasn't necessarily dealt with the same kind of mental illness that I have, I'm not looking for the answers either. I just want someone to hear me and to show me that love. And I go to my therapist and my medication and that kind of thing for the treatment of it. So I think it's good that people who aren't dealing with it know that they don't have to have the answers. They don't need to fix it. They just need to be there and listen.
Big time.
It's that self-awareness element, but that's such a hard step for so many. You know, it's so easily said. It can't be done overnight. It's
for sure
journey. Yeah. Kaitlin, what did you struggle with?
So I am diagnosed with anxiety and obsessive compulsive disorder. I have had like bouts of depression. I think that's just kind of part of it. It sometimes is all like intertwined. Mm-hmm. But for me, definitely anxiety and OCD are the biggest things for me.
Right. Do they play a part? Can someone sometimes just be OCD and just have anxiety, or are they really intertwined most oftentimes?
I think they're usually intertwined. OCD, if I'm not mistaken, is an anxiety disorder. So it's like there's lots of different ways that OCD can present itself. Like very common ones are like excessive hand washing or needing to flip the light switch 3 times or, you know, something like that, like those ritual type things. But for me, I didn't really have a lot of those. It was more just this like loop in my head of obsessive thoughts. So I didn't have a lot of like the physical traits of OCD. It was more just all in my head.
How did you realize I have OCD, I have anxiety? And is it a nature or a nurture thing?
See, okay, so for the nature versus nurture thing, I'm way less qualified to understand any of that.
No, of course, yeah.
But I assume it has to do with both. I know the way that I think of it for myself is that my brain just doesn't function the same way that most people's brains do. And that's just kind of what it is. For me personally, I don't like to think like, what if I did this? Would I still have anxiety or that? Just because for me, that doesn't help me. It makes me
more
upset.
Anxious or more.
Exactly. And I'm sure there are lots of studies and stuff, smart people figuring that kind of stuff out.
I'll leave it to them on that end.
Exactly. So for me, I was in grade 7, the summer before grade 7, when I started like getting thoughts about getting diseases and dying and all this scary stuff. And I kept it to myself at the time because I was like, oh, I'm sure most people just have this like imminent fear and dread. But it got to a point where like my whole life was consumed by it and I couldn't leave my parents. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't go to school. I couldn't go to dance class. And that was the point where my parents were like, okay, this is something bigger than us. So we went to a child psychologist, and that's when I was diagnosed with anxiety and OCD. And like at the time I was 12 or something. So I had no idea what that was. I had never heard of that before. So
did you get numb? Is that what it was? Like you'd be like numb and just wouldn't want to do something? Or you were just...
I was terrified. Mine was all fear-based. So I convinced myself that all these bad things would happen, but if I stayed close to my parents, or specifically my mom, that those bad things wouldn't happen. So I would cancel hanging out with friends or dance class, that kind of thing. And then the first year of grade 7 came around and my mom went to drop me off at school. And like, I literally just broke down. I would not get out of the car. Like, she couldn't drag me out of the car. I just couldn't even like start to think of leaving because it was so scary. So for me, it was all fear-based, and there were definitely like signs, I guess, that I was struggling, and my parents, no one put all the signs together. I stopped hanging out with friends. I stopped eating, really. I didn't have an appetite. There were just things about my personality and stuff that were changing, but we didn't put anything together. So yeah, it was a confusing time for me, but yeah.
Yeah. Did your friends know what was going on?
No. So I didn't tell any of my friends. Like, the only people that knew was my family until I was 19. Mm-hmm. And then I decided to tell a couple of my really close friends like what was going on. And it ended up for me being a really great experience. They loved me just the same as before. And I'm super grateful for them. But yeah, at the time, I just didn't say anything. Like, I know people thought it was weird that I would maybe just spend the whole day in the principal's office at first in grade 7 because I couldn't leave. Like, that was like the first goal, was just to be there. And I would miss a lot of school for therapy appointments and all that kind of stuff. So I think people thought something was up, but no one ever questioned me. I think I kind of got lucky in that sense that I was young, that kids aren't too concerned about stuff like that yet. Like, they're not super mean yet.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, because they can be nasty. Yeah. Children can be nasty to one another.
Oh, totally. And I'm super lucky that there wasn't social media and all those kind of things during that time too, because that would have just added way too much stuff to it. So,
I always say is we grew up in a time without social media. So it was a beautiful time. You could leave the bullying or you could leave problems at school, go home, and that was your safe place. Now it's all over on the phone, the iPads, and oh my God.
It's everywhere. Yeah.
I had MSN Messenger. That was my...
Yes. Totally.
Nexopia days. Yeah. That's funny. The good old days. Now, how are you guys both from Calgary originally?
Yeah, technically I was born in California, but I moved here when I was like 6, I think.
Right.
So all my school and all that kind of stuff is in Calgary, yeah.
And then I was born in Calgary, but I grew up over my family were expats, so we grew up in Nigeria and in the Middle East, and then I moved back to Calgary for junior high and high school.
Now that's a pretty cool experience in life. Wow.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. It really humbles you, doesn't it, to understand how great our home is here in Canada. Yeah.
Big time. Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Have you always loved painting and doing art?
Yeah, I'd say I've been an artist since I was a child. Over the past couple of years, I've really kind of re-gravitated towards it. And I realized how beneficial to my mental health creating art actually is. And just consuming art even. You can ask Kaitlin, I spend a couple hours a day just going through my phone, looking at different art, and it just kind of helps me feel happier.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm with you. I just paint, and I don't even know what I'm painting, but just that color, that feeling, I'm as same as you as a kid. I've just loved painting. So
definitely.
It's a escape.
Exactly. Yeah. For sure.
Now, how did you two meet, if you don't mind me asking?
We worked at a men's clothing store together. We met, what was that, 7 years ago, something like that?
Yeah.
And then we worked together for about a year, and the store ended up closing, and then we started dating.
And here you guys are today.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, that's cute. The name More Good Days, I love it. And I was saying it last time. it's just so beautiful and uplifting. You know, we need this right now. Everything's wishy-washy. So when I saw that, the pink flower, that's beautiful as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a nice little combination of our minds. I think having the artwork, like having Hayden know me so well, he can really like express what I'm thinking and feeling through his art, because I cannot do art. So it's really cool that I kind of gave him ideas and he made those ideas into something so beautiful. So
now, what made you make it so happy and find these youthful elements? You know, before all the challenges of life, we were these kids that were innocent and we didn't see a lot. We didn't experience a lot. We had this shelter and bubble until the world starts adding things onto us, right? So if you peel the onion, I always pictured that. The eye, the happiness.
And we want people when they see our clothes just to be like, that's nice. Like there's, like you said, there's so many things going on right now. If there can be one thing that you think about or look at that brings you comfort, that's what we want. So,
and not just the person wearing it, but you know, everybody's looking at you, reading your shirt. You know what it says. You don't actually even really see it. It's almost more for everybody else that sees you and maybe is having a bad day and sees that shirt and goes, more good days. You know what, actually, I like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Where did the name come from?
So it's something that I have said before when I've been talking about my journey with mental illness. So I was diagnosed in grade 7, and throughout middle school, it was really hard for me. Like, obviously there was a lot of challenges and I had to fight really hard. And in high school, I started having more good days than bad. So it just kind of evolved from that, and wanting and deserving more good days in your life is important for everyone. And I think that's
it's kind of like Kate's motto is more, let's have more good days than bad.
It's,
and you just kind of cut it down a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's going to have bad days, and unfortunately it sucks, but those bad days make those good days even better. And if we can have more good than bad, then that's the right track.
Now, in days, do you guys ever have just a moment of a bad moment, and can you switch out of it? So like through depression or through anxiety and OCD, can you say, oh my God, I'm in this zone now. How do I get out of it? Because that's so hard.
It's so hard. And I think every day is different. Sometimes, at least for me, I'll get an anxious thought or something, and I am able to just do my techniques and use my tools that I have to kind of switch my brain into thinking more positively. But some days it seems harder than others, and you can't do it, and you just have a really bad day. But I think too, part of having those good days really helps you fight on those bad days, knowing that there are those times that things get better and it doesn't have to be like this forever. For me, at least, gives me hope and be like, okay, this is just a bad day. I'm going to get through it, and tomorrow will be better. So that's just how I deal with stuff like that. Yeah.
What about for yourself, Hayden? How do you deal with certain things?
I definitely have more trouble getting stuck in that kind of bad mood. And my therapist has really, really, really changed things for me. I've been doing cognitive behavior therapy, and I've just found a lot of kind of alleviation of that bad mood all day, because I can actually end up helping myself get out of that mood and try to have a better day.
How often do you guys carpe diem, seize the day, and say, okay, it's a bad day. If I try to do one more thing, it becomes bad. Or something goes wrong, I just got to stop and I'm done for the day now. Have you ever done that?
Oh, yeah. There are some days where I'm having a bad morning or something, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to change this. I'm going to flip it around, and I'm going to make this a good day. Or there are some days where I'm like, okay, that's what it is. I'm going to take a nap or watch a movie. And I think a big part of that for me, I get very guilty that I like kind of like succumbed to the thoughts and like that feeling. And I think it's important to remember, like, sometimes you just have to do what's going to feel good in the moment. And maybe taking that nap or watching that movie is the most beneficial for your mind. And to just remind yourself that you don't need to be perfect. And it's a journey.
It's so well said. It is a journey. It's not a destination. I don't think it'll ever be what's normal or okay. And I think there's beauty in this journey. That's
Exactly.
who we are. What else are we going to change, right?
Exactly. There's a part, at least for me, that it just kind of is, I know that I'm going to have anxiety and OCD for the rest of my life. And that used to be terrifying for me, but now it is what it is. And I've had lots of good things in my life, and I just have to keep fighting for those good days, and I will have.
I love that. Kaitlin, does your anxiety also get contributed through external factors? So doing a podcast.
So yes, a lot of, like the speaking in public and that kind of thing doesn't get to me. It's kind of, well, at least my anxiety is super irrational. So the things that most people would find anxiety inducing don't get to me. But like seeing a blind person will set me off sometimes and make me super anxious, because one of my fears is being blind. So there's just those random things that my brain holds on to that definitely, if I'm listening to the news and someone is sick or something like that, that gets me going. And I mean, this pandemic has been a whole...
That's what I was just going to get to. How and for both of you, I mean, even for myself, Hayden, I mean, the dark cloud, right?
Yeah.
Physically, it's been dark out there.
Yeah.
And it's over us. And, there's not a lot of hope out there for so many right now. They see darkness. So how does someone find happiness? How does someone keep busy?
I mean, it's definitely about just making sure that you are worried about what you can control. We can't control this pandemic. We can't control what the other people are doing with their lives if they're not obeying the stay-at-home orders. But we can control what's going on in our day. So, planning something fun every day, even if it's just something fun inside your home, or, going for a walk, something.
Yeah.
I know I have a happy light, which is one of those lights that gives you more vitamin D, because in Calgary, we don't really get enough of the sunlight, which helps produce dopamine and helps that vitamin.
Someone was just talking about those. What exactly is it? How big is it?
It's not very big. It's about this big around, and it's a light that you put in your peripheral vision. You don't stare at it. It's super bright. You put it in your peripheral vision for about 10 minutes a day, and it just kind of gives you that extra sunlight energy that you would normally get if you lived in California, and you can spend every day a couple hours outside.
Yeah. But
super cool.
Super like small and portable, so you can bring it with you, like if you're traveling or something like that. And
does it give off heat as well?
Not really. No, it's mostly just the light.
Okay, I should check that out. You're the second person that's talked about it within the week. So what do you guys do to stay busy during the pandemic?
So at the beginning of the pandemic, we were planning our wedding, which took a lot of time. And for us, like, we got engaged before the pandemic. So when we started planning our wedding, the pandemic wasn't a thing. So we had to change our plans a lot and very often. So that kept us really busy. And then, I think after we got married, it was kind of back to reality, and we just try and do things that make us happy. Like Hayden has art, and we just try and make the best out of it. But I mean, there are lots of days when we just don't know what to do because we feel like there's not a lot to do.
We're still human beings, right? We're like, get me out. Yeah.
Oh, totally. There's been tons of times when we're just over it, and like everyone, it's tough. And for us, we live in a small 1-bedroom apartment, so it can seem extra tough when you are just confined, but
definitely starting More Good Days clothing has given us something that's a lot more exciting.
Yes.
And when we wake up in the morning, we have something to work at.
Yeah.
So tell me this, More Good Days clothing, how it's been like going off the charts. I mean, you guys keep selling out all the time.
Yeah.
We're selling out though. We're doing small batches. So it looks like they're sold out, but like Kate said, we live in a 1-bedroom apartment, so we can only bring in a certain amount of stock because we don't have room.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's small batch stuff. But in a way, I think that's a good thing because the people that really want it are getting it because we're able to make special orders for people and things like that.
Yeah.
Like, I love these colors that you guys just are wearing right now because I'd only seen the white ones at first initially. So
yeah, thanks. Yeah, the green ones soon to be released.
Yeah, couple weeks it should be on the website. So
give me the inside deets. All right, so hold on. I'm going to pull this up here while we're here.
Yeah.
I always think I'm like technologically advanced, but I'm not.
Humbling.
Oh, can you guys see something? A screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Zoom stuff, I think.
No.
Yeah.
All right, so we're here. Is that what's on your shirt, that design, Kaitlin?
Yeah. Yeah, so this is the tank top.
Oh, sweet. Summer's coming.
Yes. Yeah. So I think the women's tanks are sold out right now, but
yes, I see this.
We are getting restocked soon.
Perfect. And the hats are gone as well, eh? Wow.
Yeah, but more on the way.
More on the way. Nice. What are some of the most popular items that you guys often see?
The hoodies, I would say.
Yeah, the hoodies are really popular. In fact, the burgundy hoodie's been more popular than the zip-up black one.
Oh, this one. Is this similar to what you have on?
Yeah, that's pretty much the black version. We had to do white lettering and outline just so it pops on the black.
Yeah. Gray or black, eh? Yeah. Sweet. And look at that.
Yeah, and the original shirts that we made are on sale right now. So those are discontinued.
Oh no, you're done with them, eh?
Yeah, so those ones are.
Oh, this one. It's so fun.
Yeah. So we thought we'd try the one that Hayden's wearing, that design with the.
This is kind of the replacement of that shirt.
Yeah.
No, 2.0.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Is there anything on the back of this shirt or no?
No.
Yeah. You know what? Most people would probably appreciate that one as well because it's up front, right? You're walking and you're spreading it. So
exactly. The big thing for me was the zip up hoodie. When you're wearing our shirts that have the chest logo, you can't see, just looks like you're wearing a plain t-shirt.
Oh, like a white tee.
So I wanted something that if you're wearing our zip up hoodie, you can still see the logo on the t-shirt under.
So there's the I, there's the R, and what is on the E right there? Is that another I there?
Yeah, I've got two eyes.
Oh, and what is hanging off of it? It's the eyelash going into the good days.
Yeah.
Super cool. Now, how long is this sale going on for your white tees?
Until they're sold out, which is going to be pretty soon. We don't have a ton left. There's a small left in men's. And then there's a couple sizes left in ladies.
Oh, there's no larges in men?
I don't believe so. I think it's sold out.
I might just have to get it and just wear it super tight.
Exactly.
Well, I'm actually updating my podcast room. I might just buy the small and just pin it up here. That might be fun.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
Yeah.
Right? Add it on. Before we kind of move on from here, how does someone purchase your clothing and how long does it take for them to get and how does all that work?
So they can go to our website, daysclothing.com or .ca, it's the same. And then So if something is available to purchase, like if it's not sold out, it normally takes about 2 weeks for us to give it to them. If something's sold out, then we try and get things restocked every month, something like that. Mm-hmm. So just be patient and keep checking back, and we're doing our best to try and keep up with demand and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah.
No, I appreciate this message. It's huge. What made this expedite to the public? Because clearly you're moving product really well. I mean, the marketing is fantastic. The art, the branding, the message. It's like a hole-in-one here, and the perfect timing. Who doesn't want to be in comfy clothes? Like I'm in shorts right now and sandals. Like, you know.
Exactly. I mean, it just started with Hayden and I making the shirts from just a random company online and giving them to our family for Christmas. Like it wasn't going to be anything. It was just kind of.
Yeah, it was more of like we were trying to think of a creative Christmas idea for our families, and we made the shirt and thought this will help everybody feel a little bit better. And then
my dad ended up wearing it, I think in an Instagram video or a post or something.
Yeah, in the kitchen, right?
Yeah. And there were so many people asking, where can I get the shirt? Is the shirt for sale? So Hayden and I were like, okay, let's just see what happens. And so we started with the white shirt with the top left and the back graphic, and it was very well received. So we just started making more options and going from there.
Mm-hmm. Right. Now the men's t-shirt versus the female's t-shirt, is there a difference? There is?
Yeah. So the actual shirt is made for women. So it's like a bit more fitted around the waist.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And yeah.
It's not like a unisex kind of, no.
So the hoodies are unisex, but most of the shirts are either men's or women's.
Did you guys design this website? It's freaking sweet.
Yeah.
Hayden did.
I designed it.
Hayden, what do you not do?
I know, right?
Oh, this is awesome. Well, Kaitlin, I had another question for you. How did you deal with the pandemic? Because I know I had asked Hayden, but I hadn't asked you really.
So the illness part of the pandemic, I've actually handled better than I expected to handle something like this. I know my family, like we were joking, that how am I the one that's doing like the best with this situation? Because I know my sisters have had some difficulty with it. And what I said was, this is my life all the time. I'm always scared of getting sick or any disease or anything like that. So this is just for people going through this. This is what I go through all the time. So that part has been not too bad, but the staying at home and the isolation, and I mean, we're both super close with our families, and it's been very hard not being able to see them. And, you know, for us, spending Christmas is a big thing with our families, and we were here all day, just us and our dog, which was still obviously a really nice day, but it's not the same.
Not the same. Yeah. And Zoom is not the same, like a Zoom party.
No, exactly. That's what we did. We had dinner over Zoom with our family. And I know we're just trying to make it work. And the more we do this right now, hopefully the sooner things can get back to normal. But it's hard. And for me, a lot of my anxieties start when I'm bored. And I've been very bored over the past year, but like Hayden said, starting this company has really given us something to do every day and make those goals and plan for the future. So
it's kind of like this podcasting. I started in mid-January. It's like, I got to do something with my life.
Yeah, totally. And I'm sure
you stay busy, you stay active. Exactly, right? Because the boredom, it'll kill you. And there's only so much Netflix, only so much Amazon Prime, and
exactly.
Boring after a while.
Yeah, at the very beginning of the lockdown, like I think it was last March when it started, and we had to be home, and I was thinking, this is amazing. Like, we get to watch Netflix. I don't have to go to work, all that kind of stuff. But after like a week of that, you're like, okay, this is enough. So Yeah.
And we thought this was going to be what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? Oh yeah, it's just a little pandemic.
I know. Same thing when we were planning our wedding. We were going to get married in September of 2020, and like March and April of 2020, I was like, oh, we won't have to worry about rescheduling or changing anything about our wedding. And we were wrong, but
Do you guys watch less news or not look at the news?
Yes, for us, we try and keep as informed as possible without overexposing ourselves.
Yeah, I think what we do is select targeted news. We research online what we want to know, but we don't sit in front of the TV and let them tell us all the world's news kind of thing.
Yeah, it's just for us, our brains don't respond well to that.
No, it's a trigger. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's exhausting too. Like hearing it all the time, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah,
exactly.
Definitely. And we one of my sisters is really analytical and good with data and stuff like that. So I know we talked to her about what we need to keep doing with the pandemic and make sure that we're staying on top of all that kind of stuff too. Because it can be overwhelming.
Did you guys ever just stay at home? You know how when they said, please stay home and don't leave the home?
Yeah. That's
we probably
pretty much
did
what we've done the whole time.
We probably did 3 to 4 months we would hit the grocery store and that was it.
Yeah. And we have a small dog, so we have to take her for walks.
Right.
And that would be us leaving and like Hayden said, grocery store. And we just stayed here.
Was it a change of lifestyle for you? Other than the work part, did you ever go out with friends or go do stuff before the pandemic?
Oh, before, yes, yes. Yeah, Hayden's parents have a home in Canmore.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
Yes, we've been lucky enough that we can go stay there. And obviously during this, we can't go. We can't travel anywhere. So it's been hard. And just even going out for dinner with our families or seeing friends for drinks, something like that. Yeah.
We also skateboard in the indoor skate park in Calgary here was shut down for the whole winter. So we couldn't skateboard for a couple months as well, which is not fun when that's one of your main forms of exercise.
Yeah. So it's
you do the Uniboard. Have you tried that?
I haven't, but they look awesome.
They do. What's one piece of advice you could each give based on what you've gone through in life to somebody listening to this that might be going through something?
Do you want to go first or do
you go first?
Okay. I would say just don't stop fighting. I know it's scary and it seems like sometimes it's not going to get better, but I promise you it will. Things will, it's just so worth it fighting, and everyone around you wants you to keep fighting too. And you deserve to be happy. So yeah, it gets better.
Thank you, Kaitlin.
I guess my message would be stick true to what you believe in. Whether you have to make a sacrifice in losing money or losing a relationship, stick true to yourself, because you at the end of the day have to sit there and be with yourself. And if you can't feel comfortable with the decisions you made because you're making decisions, whether it's about money or making someone happy over making yourself happy, you need to be true to yourself.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Gosh, you guys are a beautiful couple.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks so much for today.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We'll chat here shortly. Thank you again.